Now we're going to set up our end mill and our ER32 holder. So once again, we have our 3/8 end mill, and we are going to have it stick 1 inch out of the holder. Over here on my bench, you can see we have our tool holder, our collet, our nut, and the end mill. So first thing we got to do is we need to insert the collet into the collet nut. And what you see here, ISCAR puts a diamond on their holders, so that's where you line up the collet inside the nut. And what you do is you actually stick the collet the opposite end first of the diamond, and then you snap towards the diamond, and that locates that's the way you should locate it, because they have a little notch on the inside, so that way the collet doesn't fall out. So that's the way they expect you to put that in. Now what we're going to do is you want to make sure everything's clean. You should always use your hands. I mean, a rag is a good thing to use, but your finger actually helps pick up grease and chips better than a rag does. A rag just kind of pushes it. It doesn't necessarily like pull it off. So you want to clean off your taper. You want to screw this in. When you start to feel some resistance, that means the collet is closing up. So you want to go take your end mill. And usually what I do is I just kind of, you know, you can either do this, I'm doing it kind of freestanding here, but normally I usually do it when it's in the vise, but kind of get it a little bit tight in there. Then what I do is I bring it over here to our vise, tighten up that a little bit. And now what we want to do is, as I said before, we want to have the tool sticking out 1 inch. Now, it's very important, whatever you do in the cam system, you always want to go a little bit further, because the last thing you want to do is go shorter, and then the cam system won't catch a crash. So my rule of thumb is usually I go 50 to 100 thou outside the holder, more than what we define in the cam system. So here we're going to set the caliper to 1 inch 050, and this is what I want to set the tool to. So now what I do now is I'm going to loosen this collet up a little bit again. And basically, you know, when you go an extra 50 thou, it also gives you some room, because it's pretty hard to set these perfectly. So 1 inch 050, you tighten this up by hand just to get the collet tight. And now you can see, you know, the end mill's not spinning now. Once again, we double check. I always double check. We're 1 inch 050. Make sure this didn't slide. Sometimes you forget to tighten the lock nut up here and it slides on you, and then, you know, now you're off a little bit, and you're always going to go shorter when you do this. So if the lock nut's not tight up here, you'll actually be shorter over here. So I've had this happen to me where I forget to tighten it or I don't go far enough, and then this will end up being something like 950 instead of 1 inch 050. So now we have that set. Now you can go in and we can tighten this. And with an ER collet, there's a torque rating, which I don't have off the top of my head, but it's in all the ISCAR books or any of the other tool holder books you use. And one thing a lot of people don't know is that ER collets are supposed to be extremely tight. I mean, even just as tight as I did there is not, I don't think that's as tight as the specification wants you to go.